It's been a gateway to the United States forever, to the crown jewel, California, if you want to say. So border life is border culture, and we're millions of people who live it every day.
I've been crossing that border since I was a young kid. So to me, it's just natural to experience both countries, both cities, both cultures.
Mexico has a different energy. It's creative, it's untethered, and fusing those two together, it's just beautiful. It really is.
We all have to change our hearts and know that we're one people. You know, there's only one race, and that's the human race.
We all kind of think of the US-Mexican border as having always been there, but actually you only need to go back a handful of generations, and for the people who lived in this part of the world, they were all one community. History has told us that the only constant is change, and for the people who live here today, I'm sensing a mood swing.
Welcome to Balboa Park. This is the largest park in the United States.
Really? Larger than Central Park?
Yep, right here in the central part of San Diego.
And this year, San Diego and Tijuana together are World Design Capital.
That's right. It's really a historic moment. This is the first time that the World Design Organization has given a title to a region. Typically, they give it to one city, 8 times before this.
Yeah.
And this year, it's both San Diego and Tijuana, but combined as one community.
So San Diego and Tijuana, they seem like strange bedfellows. Have I got that wrong?
We consider ourselves a border community, but what that means to us on a day-to-day basis is that we're very much interconnected. We cross the border daily to live, work, play, go to school. And it is the busiest land border crossing in the Western Hemisphere. So we don't think it's strange. We think that it's very normal, and our daily lives are intertwined.
Our story is a story where 2 cities and 2 countries that have a wall between us, we function at a very high level, in a peaceful way, in a respectful way. We understand that design is part of the solution moving forward to make this place better.
So, what is this?
The Exchange Pavilion. So basically it is an ito, an icon that we wanted to create that symbolizes the border region.
Yeah, so you're the artist, clearly.
Yes.
Just I can see already. And you're the architect.
We're the architects, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a collaboration.
Yes, it was a collaboration to design the temporary pavilion for the World Design Capital in San Diego, Tijuana, 2024.
Okay, well, what's the statement it's making?
It's taking the double border wall that we have, that no man's land, and it's fusing them together, creating opportunities for exchange, and it's becoming a crossroads for ideas, culture, and creativity.
Why this shape?
So we were looking for things that were very iconic to our region, and obviously something that is very present here between San Diego and Tijuana is the border wall. By taking the 2 walls and fusing them together, it lifts up on the sides and it invites people to exchange, interact. It creates a crossroads for our region.
It is generating community, it is generating a lot of dialogue, it is generating stuff that wasn't generated in San Diego before, acknowledging itself as a border city.
Talking about the B word.
The B word. I'm a border rat, born and raised, if you want to say like that.
A border rat?
Border rat, a person or a being who use both sides of the border in their everyday life. We use it how we have to use it. The more you distance yourself from the border, the further you go away from the border, the bigger the border becomes as an idea, as an impenetrable beast, if you want to call it like that.
Yeah, what an interesting idea.
Growing up in the border, it was an everyday occurrence, right? I woke up early in the morning, 5 a.m. to cross the border to come to first grade and second grade. So it was a dynamic that I was used to, and it was a very commonplace, no big deal.
It's basically a constant toma y daca, how we say in Mexico, give and take of ideas, of culture, of goods.
The border seems like this huge thing, where in fact, there's an entire small town crosses the border back and forth every day.
You know what, Mark? You should come down and have dinner in Tijuana or have some lunch.
Oh, you're on. Some lunch across the border.
Yeah, start with some tacos, maybe end with a Caesar salad.
In the lead up to the World Design Capital bid, the design community created some world-class public spaces, such as the Mingay Museum. Jennifer, the architect, ran the gauntlet of preservation committees who had a strict brief to protect what is considered a sacred historic site.
Now, Jennifer, please tell me, how did you make this happen?
Well, it takes a village, actually. This is a very sensitive site, sensitive building. It has a lot of historical character for our city. And the first assignment for us as architects was to replace the floors that had become worn. But the truth is that we saw more opportunity than that. Museums of the 21st century have a different role in our community, in our society. And we thought maybe we travel the world with the board, with the director of the museum.
You insisted on taking them all?
Yes. It was quite a caravan of wonderful minds.
Sounds like a great road trip.
It was fantastic. We went to London, Berlin, Copenhagen, New York. What we did is we began to build consensus around change, and the stories started growing. And we went from a $5 million floor to a $65 million complete transformation that connects this museum to the city. We're storytellers as architects. And so the stories here are all about building community around art. And with each of the committees that we had to work with, which were many, we gained consensus.
Jennifer, you're a force to be reckoned with.
Thank you.
Now, what a beautiful space through there, the library.
This had originally been in the basement of the building, and you had to make an appointment to come, and it wasn't likely to have many visitors. But we saw the opportunity of connecting a research library with the gallery.
And the shelving.
Mike, this system is engineered quite precisely. It was originally designed in 1960 by a wonderful German designer named Dieter Rahm, and it's called Vitsu. We wanted to bring this unbelievably beautifully designed, flexible system throughout the museum to say to the public, good design matters. So Mike, this terrace did not exist until we opened the museum.
Okay. This was your work as well?
This is what happens with historic buildings. You find spaces, you discover them, and this is one of the most important ones.
And you were part of this story, Jessica.
I was.
So in our archival research, we found a photograph.
The photo was of several women in 1915, dressed in their beautiful clothes, attending the 1915 exposition, and they were standing here waving and enjoying this space. But that's when we knew this space had been activated before.
Okay, so you can't unsee that photo, can you?
No, that photo was, I think, the green light. It gave us permission to explore how we might restore and reactivate this hidden space.
This is what it's all about. This is an exciting night for everybody. We've been looking forward to this for years. Tonight, World Design Experience, powered by San Diego Design Week, gives everybody an opportunity to come out, explore and have conversations about design. We're looking at inviting people from outside this region to think about San Diego Tijuana as a design and innovation hub, a global place for their organizations to bring teams to talk about innovation. So why not San Diego? San Diego is better. We have the climate, we have the ability, we have the talent, and now we have an opportunity with the Global Spotlight.
How did San Diego Tijuana win this bid?
Well, they have ambition to redesign things that go beyond the usual perception we have of what design should be addressing. When you're thinking of redesigning a border, addressing homelessness issue, and seeing such a mature vision of what design can be is what triggered the interest of a selection committee to designate San Diego Tijuana as the 2024 World Design Capital.
I think it's wonderful to have this situated at a border where two vibrant cultures can come together. San Diego's beautiful, Tijuana, beautiful culture, especially right now with so much political divisiveness and xenophobia around immigration. Design, I believe, needs to represent the world, needs to be of the world. So it's beautiful to see design facilitate a reunion of cultures in a way.
And that logo?
It's Tijuana and San Diego intertwined. There's a bit of chaos, there's a bit of order, there's a bit of fluidity. I wanted it to reflect our region.
So knowing each other's culture is so important. We just got to get together and put love on this planet. That's it, you know. And I love your dimples, so.
I love this woman. She's going, can I have a hug?
So the border is such a rich opportunity to have two different cultures. It's like a candle lighting another candle. There's not less, and you don't lose the fire when you light another candle, right? That old adage, right?
No,
it's the same thing about learning about the passion of the Mexican culture.
I'm a border rat. I've lived here my entire life. I've been crossing that border since I was a young kid. So I think it was such an advantage to be able to live on a border.
Daniel actually invited me for lunch over the border. Do you want to come?
I would love to come. Let's go have lunch over there.
All right, big day going across the border. Well, this is just another day for you guys, isn't it? Going across the border for lunch?
Yes. This border crossing has been decades in the making, with lots of different people from business leaders and policymakers and thinking about how to make border crossing more seamless. Really, you know, one of the things that people don't know is that our known traveler system in the US was actually prototyped here at the border. The Sentry Lane is a known traveler system where they do a background check on you and then allow you to cross the border very rapidly.
Is that what you got there, Scott?
That's what I have.
Okay, like a global entry thing. So that was innovated here.
It was.
Based on this border.
That's right. Because every day, kids cross the border, parents cross the border, workers cross the border, and they were treating them as if they were crossing the border for the first time every day. And so there was a backlog of cars. And so they said, you know, we're gonna make this more seamless so that people can cross very quickly to do their daily activities.
Well, I've just seen my first Tijuana sign.
How quickly you actually get to the border is always surprising to me.
So that's it?
Yeah, we're in Mexico.
You didn't even have to show your passport, any documentation. They didn't even stop us. We just strolled right into Mexico.
I know, I kind of looked down at my phone for a minute. I look back up and I'm in Mexico.
We're gonna go have those tacos. I can't wait. I'm so hungry right now.
I can smell them already.
But the tacos will just have to wait, because Tijuana is the most significant cultural centre in Mexico outside of the capital. And I have an appointment with my first Mexican design cultural experience.
This is a free cultural center. It's set up by federal government of Mexico. And it's the most important cultural center from the north of Mexico.
It is the north, the extreme north, like the border is
exactly
just there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
is that on purpose, I suspect?
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
It part of the decision to build this space right here in Tijuana, it's because it's where Mexico started. So they decided to build this space right here, but also we have a lot of Mexican people right there living.
That are over the border.
Exactly,
Okay.
and they want something that was surely to them to go visit and have a lot of cultural and artistic things to do from their culture.
And Armando, this dome, it's iconic in town, isn't it?
Exactly, it's emblematic space where you come and take a photo because it's the Eiffel Tower of Tijuana.
The Eiffel Town of Tijuana, no less.
It was designed by Pedro Ramirez Vasquez, which was an architect from 80s, 90s, very important. And the color takes the inspiration from the landscapes from the region.
So it's like the desert landscape.
Exactly.
It's taking an inspiration from that. Los dos, tres.
The World Design Capital bid was a collaborative effort from both sides of the border, and Arturo was a key figure in the Tijuana effort.
Arturo, you're a really great example of what this is all about. You have a design studio here in Tijuana, but you do a lot of work in San Diego as well.
Yeah, we collaborate a lot. I think from the get-go, my business partner and myself, Kathy and myself, we started doing trans-border work. So we're very interested in seeing this as a region. I'm not thinking, oh, San Diego. No, I'm thinking it's part of life. It's part of my daily life. Yeah. And hundreds of thousands of people see it that way.
So tell me a little bit about your community.
The design community in Tijuana it's a very young and a vibrant community, I think. So we have a lot of these new spaces that have been coming along for years now. And now with the WDC or all these initiatives around WDC I think they're bridging the border, they're giving a new energy to this life from the border, that's basically it.
Yeah, this life on the border. So what's WDC, World Design Capital? What does that mean for your community on this side of the border?
I think it's a big opportunity. It's basically a very powerful way of giving this community a new energy, a new purpose. It's a very big flag, so we have to wave it.
It is a big flag. Yeah, as big as that flag, actually.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Let me show you this project. This is called Transborder Typeface. We made it with one designer from San Diego and a designer from Tijuana. Borders and migration, it's a very universal issue, and usually it's a troublesome issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty, shall I say, hot border. It's one of the most famous borders in the world.
Sure.
You'd have to say. So, I mean, people are looking, and people are watching this border and the way people behave or, and talk about it.
We need borders, and we have borders, but we can make borders maybe more humane, more easy to travel around those.
More functional.
More functional. Yeah. They don't have to be a problem or a pain, to cross the border to go to shop.
Or like I've done. I've come here for lunch today.
Yeah, tacos are a good reason to cross the border.
Totally, yeah.
Tijuana is a cosmopolitan powerhouse with a food and wine scene that rivals anywhere in North America. But today, we're keeping it simple.
This is the real thing.
Yeah, it is.
Right, we're having tacos.
Yeah, we are the best taco shop in TJ in the world.
Here we go.
Qué ricos son los tacos que venden en las tres salsas, hacen que cruce la línea. 7 días a la semana, chingones los de suadero. Y también los de adobada, yeah, baby!
Mexico's got talent. This is the creative chaos that you talk about.
You never know what you're going to get when you come to Tijuana, right?
Yeah.
The street scene here is so vibrant. The people are so welcoming. And all of that is a street ballet that people in Tijuana know how to perform in that street ballet.
A street ballet. I love that.
It's so close, right? We're able to come down, have an afternoon, grab a taco, enjoy it with some friends, connect with other people. All of that is a part of the connection that we have.
That's right. I mean, there are things you can do in Tijuana that you just can't do in San Diego. And so sometimes when you need to get something done quick or be nimble or flexible, you hop over to Tijuana and they get things done.
Right, so take the Exchange Pavilion, for example.
The Exchange Pavilion was built in Tijuana. We built it, we put it on platforms, we crossed the border with it. We wouldn't have been able to create the Exchange Pavilion in San Diego with the resources we had, if you want to say. But the pavilion was created in Tijuana with all the American standards because there is a huge industry here. We call it La Maquiladora. And what we do is we build stuff for the rest of the world.
I don't want to make this seem like it was easy because you can imagine that every single level of government was involved in that pavilion. From community members to local government to regional government to the federal government. Yeah. We had to get approval from every level in order to get that pavilion fabricated across the border installed.
Yeah. Did you have to deal with these guys as well?
This was a treat, man.
I got a feeling these guys run the town. If you put Tijuana and San Diego together, you got like a powerhouse of 7 million. I mean, that's like America's 4th biggest city.
That's right. When you take those two cities, combine them, and bring together the entire region, we are a force to be reckoned with.
Well, I tell you what, these tacos are a force to be reckoned with. I see why you brought us here, Daniel.
I told you.
Oh my God, they are fantastic.
So good.
Jorge Gracia is an architect and another leading light in Mexican design. Jorge also runs a school for up-and-coming local architectural students.
Wow, so this is one of your projects?
Yes, this is the Tarahumara house.
And Jorge, you're becoming famous for this kind of work.
Yeah, we do lots of residential projects. I don't know if I'm famous, but yeah, welcome. Please come in.
My goodness.
So this is the entry gallery. Our client, she's an art collector, so she wanted a space where they can change the art periodically.
Jorge, I feel like you're setting me up for a reveal.
Yes, that's the idea, to have a all concrete space that then you jump in and connect to the city.
Look at this. Look at that opening. How long is that?
Yeah, we have 14 meters cantilever from this point to this point.
Unbelievable.
The idea is to connect the outside with the inside.
Yes, it's that working the climate, isn't it? It's like you don't know if you're inside or outside.
Yeah, we do that a lot in our projects. We want people to embrace the good climate that we have in this area, in this region.
So what was the brief here?
Well, basically she wanted a place to come home and the connection with Tijuana.
And the city is right there, and yet it's dead quiet up here.
Yeah, we have to do certain tricks into the layout to be able to, as you can see, we separated the living spaces far away from the property line so that the noise doesn't get all the way in.
Okay. You do projects like this here, but also over the border, many projects in America.
For myself as an architect, I like to see it as a region where I can perform on both sides.
It must be hard to hold on to talent here. They want to
and that's particularly one of the reasons why I started with the school 10 years ago. I wanted to create a sense of belonging to the new generations, which it wasn't happening before we had the school.
And I know you've talked about not being proud of being from here as a young architect.
When I was starting, I couldn't find a place where I feel proud of.
And I see your students walking around here. Hopefully they're inspired.
Yeah, one of the purposes on the school is actually that we take them to the construction sites. So I think it's very important for students to see the way things are being built, and it's an easier way to learn about architecture. It's not just the construction, it needs to have something that makes you feel something.
Back across the border, and the design story of San Diego has its roots set in a very special 5-mile stretch.
So tell me about this innovation corridor.
It historically has connected 3 institutions, the Salk Institute, the Scripps Institute of Oceanography, and UC San Diego, as this trifecta of research-driven design. And they've become a powerhouse for producing talent and producing rigorous research that really fuels the innovation. There are over 500 life science companies that have grown out of the investment in this region.
So all these companies have kind of gathered here organically?
No, there was in the 1960s a real concerted effort among business leaders and civic leaders to build the infrastructure in order to accommodate this growth. So it really took foresight. It really took thinking about the long-term growth of this region, thinking 20, 40 years, 50 years ahead, in order to be able to have the companies here today.
The Salk Institute is considered Louis Kahn's masterpiece, but actually the most famous part of it, the most photographed part of it, the courtyard, was the result of a cross-border collaboration. Now, Greg, Salk was conceived first in the 60s.
Yes, in the early 1960s.
And what was the main mission?
Well, the mission then, and still the mission today, is basic biomedical research. We have a relatively small faculty of just over 50 people, and we try to cover the full gamut of basic biology, from artificial intelligence, computational neuroscience, to cancer biology, to immunology, to basic neuroscience, to plant biology. We try to do it all.
Now, Greg, I'm not necessarily a fan of 60s architecture generally, but this is something else. This is striking.
For architects, this is one of the touchstone buildings on the planet. It was designed by Louis Kahn, an Estonian-American architect. He has his own special language, and this is almost universally recognized as probably his greatest building. So there are 3 floors. Each of those floors is essentially a glass box. None of the walls inside support any weight, and so we can configure and reconfigure those laboratory spaces as science changes, because each of the interior walls is just drywall. That was an innovative, even revolutionary feature for the design of research buildings at the time in the early 1960s, and it's been very widely reproduced and imitated since then. Lou Kahn, the architect, originally imagined putting a garden with trees here. He wasn't satisfied with that. He consulted with a well-known Mexican architect, Luis Barragan. Barragan took one look at the space and he said, you should not have a single tree here, not a single blade of grass. You should create a plaza. If you make a plaza, you will gain a facade to the sky. So this building is sited in such a way that it faces directly west, and twice a year, which is coming up in just another day and a half, the sun sets on this stream here, directly on line with the stream. So only in the autumnal and the vernal equinox, and you're here at just the right time.
Now that's a solar date I intend to keep. Further along the innovation corridor is the UC San Diego Design Lab.
This is the Design and Innovation Building, and it's exciting because it's right off the trolley stop, which means it's open to the public. And it's really where people come to experience the innovation life cycle. So there are 4 distinct floors which match the 4 parts of that trajectory. You start off in the basement with ideas, whether they're formed or new ideas. You then move to the makerspace, which allows you to prototype those ideas. And then you continue on up with the idea that at the end you're able to launch into the world, whether it's a product, a service, an experience.
Wow, so it's like an innovation machine. Now, Josh, you started here in the basement.
I did. We had our printers right there, in fact.
Okay, in amongst all these other innovators. So this is your innovation?
That's right. This is the Limber Unileg. It's the world's first fully 3D printed, from the top of the ears down to the tip of the toe, prosthetic limb that's dynamic, durable, and functional. You know, these limbs are actually 25 to 40% lighter than the state-of-the-art prosthetic limb technology here in the US. You have to think about trying to swing this basically with just your knee to power it. And so the lighter weight, the better. We based the design of this, actually it was inspired by the cholla cactus. Now the cholla cactus is a natural structure that's extremely lightweight, resistant, and strong.
Can I have a feel?
And so we're able to take inspiration from this structure and bake it into our leg to make the leg more flexible. So this entire structure can bend and flex in all of the different axes.
So it's pretty strong then?
Absolutely. We've parked cars on top of it, and we took it through rigorous safety testing.
So I'm not going to break it doing this?
There's no way you can break it.
Now here on the border, that's been quite helpful in this process, developing this.
Sure. So my co-founder and partner is a certified prosthetist. He's been practicing locally here in the US for about 35 years. But 25 of those, he supported the cross-border community, so individuals in Mexico. And it was a perfect way, after we had done our safety testing, to really test the functionality of the devices.
So you guys are on your way now. You've busted out of this building.
We've actually spun out of the university now. And we have a manufacturing facility that's FDA registered and licensed, where we design and manufacture every one of these devices.
This is where things get really interesting on the third floor with the design lab. We start to ask the question, is this what the world needs?
Okay, and this is one of your labs?
It is. So welcome to the Center for Health Innovation. And at any given time, you'll see in this space faculty, students, practitioners who are looking at things like digital health, prosthetics, artificial intelligence, mental health. And you know what else was incubated here in this lab?
What? Tell me.
The World Design Capital 2024.
Really?
Yes.
This is where the scheme was plotted.
This is where it all started.
So Michelle mentioned about you being on the trolley line here. What's the significance of that?
Well, it's really important for us to actually extend the trolley line, because what it allows us to do is to send students and researchers out into the community to work on community-based design projects. And then we can bring the community here to co-design with us, not just the San Diego community, but also the community in Tijuana.
This line goes to the border, 26 miles away?
Exactly.
So what's on the fourth floor?
The fourth floor is where an idea that has been molded, prototyped, iterated, then we see the value of it, and it goes up to the fourth floor to the Entrepreneurship Center and gets the services they need to actually grow their idea.
Billion Labs.
Hello.
So you're Edward.
Yes, I am. Nice to meet you.
Yes, you've made it to the fourth floor.
Yes, we've been developing a smartphone blood pressure monitor, and now we're kind of ready to commercialize. That's why we're up on the fourth floor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Let me show you.
Yeah. I mean, I recognize that. I'm quite old, Edward. So my doctor suggested I should get one of those just to monitor what's going on.
Right. Yeah, you're familiar, right? This device, you put it on your arm, it has a pump and inflates, and then you measure your blood pressure that way. But you have to get one of these, right? And so, what we're making soon, you'll be able to just download an app on your phone, your personal phone, without any attachments. It's just like downloading an app.
You haven't tricked this phone up in some way?
Nope. Just a regular phone out of the box, and you'll be able to measure your blood pressure.
Really? I'm skeptical.
You should be. Well, the phone has all the sensors you need to transform it into a medical device. And so the camera on the phone can actually see the color of the blood. And so you can measure your heart rate. And there's no really any magic here. Every time your heart beats, a little bit of blood goes into your finger, light gets absorbed, the camera can see that. The innovation that we really built is this ability to then measure the other thing that you need for blood pressure, which is the pressure that you're applying to the artery. And that is very similar to how a cuff works, where it inflates and cuts off the flow. But what we do is actually place your finger on the phone. As you press down, the phone actually vibrates. As you apply pressure onto a vibrating object, you dampen that. And the phone has a motion sensor, and it detects that change, that subtle change in the vibration pattern, and it measures how hard you're pressing on your finger.
Can I have a go?
Of course. Let me help you for the first time, right? So you place your finger here.
Yeah.
Right, and then I'm gonna help press it. Yeah, so you can see.
So I've got a pulse.
So you are alive. We can confirm that. So right now you see that your pulse is starting to get, crushed out as I'm applying my pressure harder and harder. And you can see that I'm pressing harder because you can see this ring growing. Perhaps this looks simple, but we actually spent months developing this visualization. And so again, you can see right here, that pulse starts to get crushed out and then gets smaller, and that is exactly what we're expecting from a pulse.
What are you going to do with this?
This is really why we're here on the fourth floor, is to take the idea of this concept, but to actually develop it so that we can take it through the regulatory body, the FDA, where we have clinical partners that is going to take our app and actually put it through its courses, test it on a variety of different people, check its usability, and hopefully go through the FDA soon.
Edward Wang, watch out for this guy.
The UC San Diego Design Lab is a magnet to some of today's smartest innovators on the planet. And they would all aspire to be like this guy, 95-year-old Marty Cooper, innovation royalty.
So, have I got this right? You were the innovator of the original cell phone.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I happened to recognize pretty early that people want to be in touch always. The time that I had these ideas, in order to communicate with somebody else, you have to have a wire connected to something.
Yeah.
Well, we were in the two-way radio business, And we discovered that when people could communicate while they're traveling and moving around, they're much more productive. People are mobile. They're fundamentally, naturally mobile.
Yeah.
You just have to look around you. You see, nobody is where they want to be. Everybody's going somewhere else.
Marty's story of how he and his team created one of the most game-changing innovations of the 20th century is remarkable. And you can see my full interview with Marty at bydesign.global.
What do you think about San Diego and Tijuana, the whole border? Can you imagine in your time when all this was going on that there was an incubator place like this?
It's the most exciting place for a guy like me because there's always something going on here that is at the forefront of technology.
So Marty, do you think we're better off or worse off with these phones?
What do you think, Mike? It makes us more productive. People are healthier. Think about how many people's lives have been saved by being able to call for help when you're in trouble.
Yeah.
If you want to know how important the cell phone is to you, just let me take that away. You don't need it.
Oh, don't, Marty, please don't. It's like my right hand.
That's exactly right.
Now, I've been to San Diego once before to cover a story on the G7 by Dexcom, an innovation changing the face of diabetes monitoring and management.
Alex?
Hey, Mike. Welcome back to San Diego.
Oh, thank you. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, likewise. Hey, how was your G7 experience?
Kind of freaky, but really, I mean, it was much ado about nothing.
Did you learn some things from it?
I did, about behaviour, my eating behaviour, etc. It's all about that, actually. It's all about the monitoring and learning.
That's right.
What are you going to do to me today?
Well, hey, we've got something new for you. So Stelo is for adults with type 2 diabetes who are not taking insulin or those with pre-diabetes. This is the world's first over-the-counter glucose biosensor. You want to put it on, Mike?
Okay.
Yeah? All right, let's go.
I guess so.
All right.
I'll be brave. Be a big brave boy. Okay, so I'm going to put it on the arm here like last time, yeah?
Twist the cap off.
All right.
Okay.
So that's about there is the sweet spot.
You got it. Press it against the skin and then press the button. And voila.
And it's on. And so I know we downloaded this before, so I can see that's pairing now, yeah?
Yeah, it's warming up, and in less than half an hour, you're gonna be getting information from the biosensor directly to your smartphone.
Okay, I look forward to that. So Alex, why is Dexcom based here in the Sorrento Valley?
In the San Diego, Tijuana region, there is a tremendous amount of bioscience expertise. All of these teams have to come together to produce a sensor like this at scale.
This iconic architectural statement is Rady Shell. It played a key role in the World Design Capital bid.
Martha, you created this.
Well, I guess you could look at it that way, but it was a dream before I even arrived here to have a permanent outdoor venue for the San Diego Symphony Orchestra that can be used 24/7, 365 days a year. That was really the dream, and yes, I helped that happen. It's a beautiful setting where really nature meets culture, and that's what I said to the Port of San Diego when we first met almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This is unique, and it will be the kind of the front porch of San Diego. It's an iconic place and an iconic venue that matches it. And this San Diego deserves this. You know, it's a beautiful city. It deserves a beautiful venue.
Look at this.
I never get tired of this look.
I bet you don't, yeah.
And if you look through the bridge, you can see Tijuana.
Okay, that's Tijuana right there.
Yes, and it was important as we considered this site that literally it is in our site and it fosters desire for collaboration. Sorry, we're setting up for a concert tonight, as you can see.
There's always something going on here, so I guess they're always setting up, breaking
110
down.
half days a year, there are concerts here. When we talk about design, sound design is a critical part when you're looking at a venue.
Yeah.
Given that this is run by the San Diego Symphony Orchestra, acoustics were paramount. Part of it is the design and shape of the shell itself. So if you go around the outside and you bang on it, it sounds like a big drum. So there's an acoustic property to that outer shell. Indoors, there are some reflective and absorptive panels that you don't see. They're behind the inner layer. But what you do see, and what's really critical to this, is those speakers here, and there are microphones above that are taking the sound of the orchestra, running them through a processor and adding reverb, and bringing them back to the orchestra. So they are sitting in a great acoustic environment. The acoustic supports the art making, and when the art making is good, the audience is happy.
So Travis, this is backstage.
Absolutely, yes. This probably looks pretty different than most backstage spaces you've been in before.
You're right.
Here, we have the benefit of the great weather in San Diego. So even here in our backstage space, we've got this great indoor-outdoor atmosphere.
And if you're John Legend, for example,
right,
he's played here, hasn't he?
Absolutely. He's actually been here twice. Loved it so much he's come back. So
okay.
We're finding that with a lot of artists, actually. They have such a great experience, they want to come back.
Martha said I could bang on the outside of the dome here.
Absolutely, yeah. Just like our orchestra, this is like a giant timpani. Go ahead, give it a whack.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah, that's actually a Teflon reinforced fabric that stretches over the entire shell.
Okay, it's like the whole shell is an instrument itself.
It is, yes. So we have the amplified acoustics, but we also have the natural acoustics, which helps to send that sound out into the audience.
Jonathan, this is where you hosted the community celebration for the bid.
It is. We had more than 1,000 people here on a Sunday evening. It was a party. It was a party.
And I understand it was during COVID, so this was kind of all for one guy.
Usually there's a whole panel that comes from World Design Organization.
A bit like bidding for the Olympics kind of thing, yeah?
Absolutely. And we had all of the elected officials up there. We had a lot of pomp. These seats were filled. And it was to demonstrate to one man.
Fantastic. He didn't look down at his phone at some point,
Not once.
did he? No. He focused. And you were up against Moscow. By this point, everybody else had dropped away, and it was Moscow or you.
I mean, one of the most historic cities on the planet, steeped in design tradition. We needed to demonstrate to World Design Organization that we do in fact function as a region and that we celebrate it as a community. This is a place of constant change and iteration. That is our place in the world. We change because we are this binational place. We have the resources of both countries, we have the resources of both cities, but we're really committed to changing every day.
Back at Salk Institute, and just in time for my Equinox sunset appointment. As I check my blood levels on Alex's app, I reflect on my rather silly question to Mai. Did all this innovation just organically evolve? Of course not. Design is a deliberate act, and so is creating an environment for it. The sun doesn't hit exactly on this spot twice a year by some freak lucky alignment. It was designed to happen that way.
Love to get a selfie with you.
Wait a second, I gotta work this up.
Yeah.
How do you turn it around?
Oh, I'll show you. Well, I can't believe I'm showing the guy who invented the first phone.
There you go, I got it.
There we go. All right, a dual selfie. Two good-looking blokes. Look at that. Fantastic. Good on you. Thanks, Marty.
Well, my pleasure.